It's on.
It's,
You know why
it
we,
is on.
you know why we lead with that to make sure your hosts are in a happy mood when it's time to get started. Because just seeing that little orange jacket bobbing back and forth always makes us smile. We are the parents of that little boy. We are Doobie and Rebecca, co-founders of Laughing Place. What?
He's now 14. It's just
Yeah, that little
not
boy is
totally.
not a little boy. He's got a voice much deeper than mine. Um, and we're here to talk about the week in Disney parks, Disney Park news. This is Disney Parks Talk Live. Normally we're joined by Mike and Jeremiah, but it looks like you just got the two of us today. So in the Kidder says, "Hey Mosley, hey Kidder, thanks for joining us." And I think we're up to the task. So we've been doing this since 1999, so I think we can handle it. In
Yep.
fact, yeah. Wow, much longer than our son's been alive. So thanks for joining us. Of course, we are live. If you'd like to participate in the chat, we always love that. If you have questions, comments, your opinions, we're going to be talking Toontown, Indy, stuff that seems like it was a year ago, but was actually about 5 days ago. All the stuff at Disney
Right.
World that with Tron and some opening dates and stuff like that. New concept art for some of the stuff happening over on the East Coast. So tons of stuff to talk about. Why don't we get started? Rebecca is in the driver's seat today.
Hey, we're starting off with some news that popped up today about Disneyland, and that is that Hyperspace Mountain is returning for May, and it's coming back May 1st. It will be during that special celebration of all things Star Wars on May the 4th, right? So makes sense that that's when we will be seeing Hyperspace Mountain come back. For more information, be sure to check out our little write up about it here at Lapping Place, and then also Disney's resuming a test of the single rider line. So if you are someone who wants to have a shorter, most likely shorter wait, that's usually what happens when you jump in a single rider. But you don't get to ride with your party, right? They plug you into whatever spot is available when they're doing that little Tetris game they got going on with the parties and seating at the attraction. So yep, that's coming. That's coming back to Space Mountain. I think it was a couple of years back that they had
Yeah,
initially tried single rider at Space. And while this announcement did say it's happening today, the app did not indicate such. So it may be that it's something where you're going to have to, since it's considered a testing, be sure to go over and check and see if it's available. Don't totally just rely on the app. Because like I say, when I looked at the map today, it did not indicate that Space Mountain was a single rider. But the biggest news out of
you know what?
Disneyland. Yes, go ahead, Judy. Sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No,
since we're
you're good.
doing breaking news, let's go with a little bit of other news that just broke. The energy bites on the East Coast. This is why Jeremiah is late. Energy bites on the East Coast actually opened today. This is the eatery that goes along with Tron, and so Jeremiah hung around so he could check that out. That's a cool looking place, by the way.
It is.
That is pretty
Almost
awesome.
looks like a helmet, like the an abstract view of a spaceman's helmet. You know,
It
almost
does,
like
yeah.
a visor to come down. Maybe like they took it off Daft Punk, put it over there.
It totally. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of. Do you remember Contact and the thing that they
Oh
drop the
yeah,
guy into?
yeah, that too.
It kind of
Yeah, with
reminded me
all
of
the
that. Yeah.
rings. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. So I'm not sure. This might be inside the location where you enter for the virtual queue, which is why Jeremiah couldn't see it until his virtual queue time came up. I think that
Mm-hmm.
might be what's going on here.
Yeah, that is where that location
Okay.
is. I saw it when I was there a few weeks ago.
That's right. You got to ride Tron. Let's
Yes,
cross
I
the
did.
fingers for Doobie. I'm going to be
I
there
know,
soon.
hoping for you.
So yeah, Jeremiah got a virtual queue this afternoon. You may have seen him live at 1 o'clock 1 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Pacific. He was on our morning show, and we watched him get the virtual queue. That was kind of fun and exciting. So he went in, he went over there, got through, and was able to see Energy Bites. There's the location, and he got to look at some of
Ooh,
the food in there. So, yeah, I really hope I get a virtual
I
queue.
am not a Moki fan, but this drink sounds good. I want to say it's like watermelon and ginger.
Really?
As I recall from the initial announcement. So yeah.
And then a couple more pictures of the food there. The last of the menu items. Jeremiah, of course, had to
I
get one
wonder
of
if
each.
that's the buffalo dumplings. It had a flavor palette like buffalo wings. So you had that buffalo chicken, but then you also it said it was going to have some blue cheese kind of as a part of it too. So I wonder if that's what that is.
I mean, it's got to be. That's exactly what
Right?
that looks like. And more desserty
And I'm
stuff. Do you
guessing
remember?
those are the chocolate donuts that were part of the menu.
So hopefully Jeremiah is currently on his way home. He said he will be joining us.
Oh,
So
cool.
we do want to talk to him about this experience, his experience doing the virtual queue today, and all the stuff going on the East Coast. So yeah, he'll be here. All right, you may continue with Toontown.
Well, you guys might remember they closed Toontown for a bit. They did a reimagining. We weren't quite sure totally what to expect. We had some ideas, right? We had the impression that the coaster and cartoon spin would be sticking around. And based upon the footage I've seen most recently, we weren't there. Mike Celestino was there, and if you want to hear his report, you can check out the morning show, because that's where Mike got to share some of his experiences on the opening. Well, I guess the media soft opening day that happened on Saturday. Its official opening was yesterday, but I always like to revisit the concept art for a moment, kind of think about what we were all speculating about before we actually got to set foot in it. So bringing up this original kind of announcement that we got a year ago, back in April of 2022. So we finally are inside. The grand opening, the rededication ceremony happened on Sunday morning with Ken Potrock. There were a number of Toontown legendaries, of course, in attendance.
And the original podium.
Yep, that was I think that was the highlight of the event. Was
This is
the
the
fact that this is the same podium that had been there for the original opening day ceremony.
1993, 30 years ago.
If you want to see the full video, of course, we have it on Laughing Place. Mickey had his new kind of casual gear on for the event. This is how you'll find Mickey within this reimagined Toontown. He's got a zip hoodie, some yellow sneakers. He still has his tuxedo and nice shiny shoes. If you wait in the Mickey's house and go out to the movie barn and take a picture with him there. And then also new for this reimagined Toontown is an opportunity to meet and greet with Pete.
Pete himself, which is such an unusual character. He's so large, kind of like a country bear, but his head is also really, really. I don't know. He has a different look than we're used to, and I like it. It's very cartoony, despite his large size.
Okay, I'm not I haven't been a big fan. I haven't really embraced the talking Mickey dynamic that they were doing as y'all. But I am sad that we don't get to walk around Toontown hearing Mickey the Mouse, because
I know.
that's how Pete always talks
He
about.
did. That's all he needs. Just
In what was that? Was that Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? Is that what it was called?
yeah,
The
and that's all
Mouse.
it needs to be. It's just a button where that's all he says, Mickey the Mouse, and we'll be
Mickey the
perfectly
Mouse.
happy. You don't have to say anything else. Hey Pete, how you doing today? Mickey the Mouse, and we're all happy.
So there you go. He was quite a popular figure opening day there. He's new. Can you see Donald off in the background there by his boat?
Oh yeah, there he is, way back there. He's
Yeah, there he
feeling
is.
a little left out, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're
A little angry
having
at
some
Pete.
fun.
Because
Uh,
Pete, if you showed the opening ceremony, Pete was like the leader of the opening ceremony, the moment where the confetti went off.
yeah.
Pete was right there, and Mickey and Minnie were off to the side. I feel like this is
Wow.
Pete's Toontown, not Mickey's Toontown.
He's taking charge. He's large and
Yeah,
in charge, right?
is he a villain?
No, no, he's not. Do you think of him as a villain? I mean,
He's
in
too
the
cute to
modern
be a
era.
villain. He's too cute to be a villain. No, he's not a villain.
Yeah, no,
He's
he's
not.
just kind of ornery.
Hey,
Uh,
Gio.
Hi, Gio. Hope you are enjoying a look at Toontown while you're taking a break. We've the fountain. Now, okay, it seems to be my understanding, based upon the design, is that it's created specifically to be engaging, so you can kind of lean in and splash in the water and stuff. But it seems like so far most of the time it's been roped off, so we haven't had a chance to see that. And then the other thing is that there was a lot of talk about in the it having like a lighting package, or very kind of a
Hmm.
special, like presentation, and I don't think we've been able to capture footage of that yet either. So I'm eager to kind of see what this fountain is like, kind of in its full glory. I feel like we've only gotten a taste of the Centennial Park fountain.
You feel like maybe instead of letting the fountain fully bloom, it's just been off in a corner?
Oh no, you're now
Sorry.
joining the Dirty Dancing references.
How can you not? Look at that. Mickey's having the time of his life.
I think Minnie's having the time of her life.
Oh, okay. Let's move on.
There's a sweet little manhole cover of all things, and it has 2 my sweetie, who always sweeps me off my feet, would love So which
That
MM,
goes, oh, that's beautiful. That goes both ways. I love that.
right?
That is so perfect.
I kind of hope they'll do this as either like a coin or maybe like a little, maybe even a medallion necklace would be kind of sweet. I don't know. It's
This is
super
really
sweet.
sweet. I love
Yeah.
that. I didn't notice that's what it said before. That's so sweet.
I'm a big fan of that.
Mickey, it should say MTM. Mickey DeMose.
Mickey Mouse. This is the dreaming tree. I was surprised, I think, that it was not that it's real. And so I had a more grand vision in my head of the tree. I think I was
What is the Dreaming Tree?
so it's in the entrance area of the new reimagined Toontown, and part of what the design of this Toontown is, it's really focused on kind of exploratory play, a place for you to kind of have a chance for your littles to work off a little bit of that steam, right? Throughout the day, they're holding your hand, they're walking, nicely around other people, they're queuing up, they're sitting for parades, and then this is a place where they could just kind of let it all hang out, have a nice time climbing a bit more on stuff. They have slides, all kinds of things like that. And the Dreaming Tree is meant to be inspired by the tree in Marceline, Missouri, that Walt would talk about, sitting underneath and dreaming, and that dynamic. And so that's my understanding of what was the inspiration behind the Dreaming Tree. And so because of that, I had kind of very specific expectations. And
Yes.
this tree is not meeting my expectations, but it's real. And I think that's part of the problem, in that I have to give it time maybe to grow,
To
like, kind of,
bloom.
yeah, because when you move a tree, I think you have to like help it to
Well,
deal with the stress of the move. I think you make it as small as you can, kind of, and then
and
it can
remember,
kind of expand. Go ahead, Dewey.
remember over at AMC, over at Uva Bar, they build these things and they're so barren in the beginning, but then like 30 years later, they're still completely barren. So give it time to bloom and let's see what happens.
But wait, in fairness, there are so many locations that at Disneyland we would go to take pictures. We lived in the Disneyland area for about a decade, for many decades. And then we moved to Florida for about a decade. And then when we came back, there were things that we were like, oh, I'll go here to take this picture. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I can't see what is
Yeah.
off in the distance there because the trees have grown such that I can't see it. So, I mean, in fairness,
It will grow. They're playing the long game. The tree will grow.
but
I like the lanterns a lot. I do want to say that. I'm a fan of the lanterns. Okay, go on.
But I think because they talked about kind of it having a twilight moment, I remember at some point there was talk of it almost felt like there was going to be a kiss goodnight, like earlier in the day for the littles who don't stay up late, kind of thing. So in my head, I had gone to more of what Dollywood has done. They have like the wildwood tree, and it has like these leaves that sparkle and stuff in the evening. Tony Betty shared these with me, and so my mind had gone somewhere different. So this isn't quite what I expected. So I'm having to kind of adjust to what it's offering. But these tree roots, I saw kids kind of sliding, making their own little makeshift slides under it. Some kids were climbing under them. Some kids were climbing over them. It's a very different dynamic, in that I feel like I had thought Disney was kind of moving away from the playgroundy elements in a theme park. And so to see them heavily embrace that genre as far as kids entertainment again, is surprising, and I'm intrigued to see kind of how it's experienced and how it goes from here.
Me too. I'm thrilled they have because, whenever they start removing stuff like that, it's like, oh, these days lawsuits, people get hurt, and they just play it safe. So the fact that they're willing to put this stuff out here, I mean, those branches are just asking to get tripped over. And I don't mean that as a joke. People are going to trip on the branches. I can't imagine Disney didn't think of that. So the fact that they put them out there, they have this place for people to play, and I applaud that, and I hope it makes it. I hope it endures.
Yeah, I'm less optimistic about it, but I'm excited that they're giving it a try. I will say the changes that have happened with the Goofy house is super awesome, and some of the elements of Disney parks that I enjoy the most, and that's the kinetic motion. There's an entire section of it where you get to the kids get to, like, by pushing buttons and stuff, they impact what's happening around them. You've got these balls that are floating here and there along these infrastructures, and you can see there's certain knobs and buttons and things that they can push, and it'll impact the play. But even if they're not touching things, by being there, you've got all this activity going on around you, and it's super engaging, just to kind of be amongst all of this activity in Goofy's house. Way more dynamic, way more visually stimulating. Mike Celestino was saying that things like this, he can remembers things like this when he was little, and he knows that this would have really kept his attention for quite a period of time, back when he was a little, not the ginormous kid that he is now. Um, outside of Goofy's, there was the some chalk drawings, some like various other elements. Here's some stills from inside. I don't know, Doobie, what'd you think?
I mean, I'm with Mike in the kinetic of it and the playfulness of it. Goofy's house was pretty playful before too, but I think they've even upped the game there. And I really like the outdoor area. I mean, I'm not one that's going to be playing on it, obviously, but the slide, I like that even an adult can walk up there and get kind of a elevated view of Toontown, which was really cool. And it looks fun for the littlest littles. And, Tom Sawyer Island is great for the middlest littles. But for the littlest littles, I think Toontown, look at that. I mean, I think this is I think it's going to be a hit. I really do.
And to answer personal security's question, Clarabelle ice cream, it was not there, as Disney Fan 2005 has answered. It is one of the extinct areas now of Toontown gone by.
Can I show
sorry about that. Go ahead, Duke.
Can I show an example of the littlest littles and how they are going to appreciate Goofy's house and all that's there?
Yes, please do.
Yep. Children of all ages.
100%. Donald's Boat, they've added some interactivity. Those windows that you see down below when the kids push buttons or pump or things like this, there's actually like characters from the DuckTales. I want to say it's Webby and one of the nephews appear, and things happen that you impact. And that spinning mic that you saw, he was actually in the unpictured red lily that is adjacent to these purple and yellow ones. And once again, this is another element that we didn't get to really see and experience because the splash pad, which is just on the other side of that fencing, it wasn't open on the day that Mike was there. So we didn't get to kind of see this area in its kind of full usage. So just a little bit of a peek in a way. And then all throughout the area around Goofy's house and Donald's Boat, you've got these little structures and locations that the kids can crawl around. Continuing with the idea that of making it accessible to all, they have this area that had been the Chippendale Treehouse and Ball Pit decades ago. It had been kind of very much a vacant expanse in a way for a while. They've turned it into this very nice grassy green area. Part of it's heavily shaded with some benches underneath that awning over there. And this area doesn't have the music of Toontown. from what I
Right.
understand. It's BGM-less, so it's very serene in that way. And so if you're really in need of kind of just a cool down space mentally, just a place to kind of take a respite, um,
And back there,
you
you can
can't
see in the
you
back,
can
we
stop.
have some pictures. I'm sorry. Back in the back,
No, go ahead.
that's actually benches under shade in the back there. So not only do you get some quiet, but you can get some shade and cool down and sit and relax. And really an unusual kind of setting for a Disney theme park, an intentional
Quiet
respite from
zone in a way.
everything at
Yeah.
the back of the park. But again, when you've got the littles, maybe you've got a 2-year-old who you're hoping to get down to a nap or something, while the 4-year-old is out running crazy at Goofy's house. I think it's a pretty thoughtful addition. Pretty thoughtful addition.
Well, and sometimes you just need a little bit of just a place to just decompress a bit. I mean, I was saying, we were talking about the other day that honestly, when our son was in that kind of toddler and preschool age, Toontown was not his favorite place to go. He didn't really seem to embrace it until he got a little older, like 8, 9, 10. That's when he really seemed to enjoy Mickey's Toontown. I think it was just too chaotic for him, and these changes that they've made with much more open spaces, and with the transition of the music, it doesn't have all that, it doesn't have that wackiness to it. It's more familiar to this generation. You've got Mickey Mouse Clubhouse music, you've got Mickey and the Roadster Racers, I know Mickey Mouse Clubhouse music and classic, Mickey music, and but like not the just lifted out of the show. It's kind of musacked, kind of softened a little bit. It's bright and cheerful, but just not quite as wacky and zany as the previous music. Um,
And
as
of
part
course, the merchandise. Go ahead. Some very
No, no,
cool
no,
merchandise, by the
no. You
way.
go ahead. I'm talking so much. I was trying to open the
No,
door for you to
you're
talk.
the Toontown expert here. Honestly, I'll let Jeremy know. We'll bring you on after Toontown, Jeremiah. But we've got the merchandise. We have a really good video exploring it on our website, as well as all these pictures. But the highlight, I think there are two real highlights. One is this train right now, which I'm going to let Rebecca talk about. She's the expert on this.
Okay, this is a remote controlled train. You've got three elements to it in that the engine is followed by these cars. It looks like they're not directly connected to it, but when the train travels, the cars will kind of follow behind it. And then also with the elements, they have their individual sound packages. It seems. I haven't had a chance. I'm going off of the video explanation and seeing what Mike shared with us, but the audio drops for it are from the attractions. So it's really a great way to bring a piece of that. It's $149.99, so it is not an inexpensive purchase, but it has the train set that you see here, and then five or six characters. I'm not going to remember. I know it has Goofy, Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, and the little orange bird whose name I think is Chubby, but it may be Chubby. Chubby? Okay.
I think it's Juby.
And it's packaged in a nice little box that looks like a toy barn, like an engine barn. And Gideon actually purchased the Roadster the last time we were there, and he uses that little paper set as kind of a way to display his toy when he's not playing with it. And they've done a similar concept with the engine as well. They also have a couple of new eateries, and I think, Juby, the other highlight you want to talk about is part of what you can find at Good Boy Grocers.
It is. I did want to mention with the eatery real quick because they have the pizza place and Mike Celestino this morning. Oh, Kyle
Right.
throwing it down. Chubby greater than Orange Bird. We're going to talk tomorrow morning, Kyle. All right. So Mike Celestino, with his eating issues, he's gluten free. That sounds horrible. He's gluten free, and he said the gluten free pizza they had at Cafe Daisy is the best gluten-free pizza he's ever had anywhere. And in fact, when he went back the next day, he wanted to go back there just to get the pizza. So definitely want to make sure if you're gluten-free, check out the gluten-free pizza back in Toontown. You may not think that's where the hot spot is for a gluten-free pizza, but it apparently is. They also have a pepperoni pizza with one big giant pepperoni and then two little pepperonis, and some might call that a hidden Mickey. But yes, the picnic basket is kind of the big hit over here. You can buy a picnic basket, which you get in this giant Mickey glove, and you carry it over, and it comes with a thingy where you should get a blanket you can lay on the ground. If you is the blanket included always, or you pay extra for the blanket,
It's
Rebecca?
extra. It's extra for the blanket. The blanket is an additional. Um, you can see it here. It says add blanket, and then it's $36.99.
Okay, so
And you
do
can
the
buy
math.
that blanket separately if you want, but it's a little bit more expensive if you're buying that blanket
And
separately.
then,
This is what it looks
yeah,
like. It's so cute. Look, it's Mickey and Minnie laying on the blanket like a perfect picnic, just like the short. And off in the corner, you have a bunch of ants crawling around in a little hidden Mickey shape. So super sweet. And then it folds right up into this that looks like the title card of the short. So super cool packaging. And the picnic basket itself is pretty nifty.
yeah, and this picnic basket, from what we've heard, has been pretty popular thus far. You can put your, as they said, you can a child or a smaller-handed adult can put their hand in there and carry the basket to your spot, and they have all this green space now. And I'm really anxious to see what this place looks like. Once things settle down a little bit, and it's not all the Disney crazies, but just everyday people. Is this just going to be like the place to just hang out at Disneyland and have a picnic and kids run around, kind of like a dream for people like us, pass holders like us back in the day? I wonder if this is what this is going to turn into.
I that's what I'm waiting on. I've loved the visuals. I like the energy that we've seen with the footage that Mike and our team have provided. But I'm fascinated to see kind of what that real world experience is. Like, what is it like when you've got the day guests there? What is it like when you've got that summer sun
Right. Yeah.
on it? What, all these kinds of dynamics, because there were certain areas that we're looking at, we're like, oh, these are beautiful big green areas, and now we're seeing it used for stroller parking to some extent. And it's like, okay, now how much of that stroller parking is going to spill over? How's that going to play out? And those dynamics are always going to be shifting and changing. And then Disney themselves, they evaluate things, and
Right.
they end up transitioning stuff and moving it around as well. So
And it's nice to see that barn, the old barn that used to store the Jolly Trolley, being used for valet stroller parking. So maybe that can clear some of the space. But yeah, strollers definitely can get in the way of that. But with all the green space, assuming the dreaming tree blooms more and gets a little bit more shade, because shade's always an issue. But because there's two major attractions back there too. Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin pulls in people, and of course the big new attraction, Runaway Railway. I just wonder, is Toontown going to become the place to be? The place to go to see and be seen.
it
Anxious to
is
see.
cool to see. It is cool to see, Pete. And I just want to remind everybody while we're wrapping up our Toontown stuff so we can talk to Jeremiah. Over the years, we've been covering the development of this project. So stop by Laughing Place and check out some of the images from the past, and you can compare it to what's happened, right? They showed us these models at the D23 Expo. And so we can get a really great look at kind of that development process. We can see the concept art, we can see what the models were, and then we can compare it to kind of the real world creation that we now have. And Tony, back in March when it was closing, took a look at Toontown's history and kind of the storyline of Toontown and what its original storyline was. I don't, what's the word, backstory, what the original backstory was for that land, and it'll take a little bit of its history. Gadget Go Coaster, it didn't change as far as the track layout, but they added Chip and Dale figures to the visuals there, and you even got a little nod to Gadget herself, because it is, after all, her creation. So I appreciate that she got that nod. Even a little audio of Gadget is now part of the coaster experience. And with the
And
Toontown opening, go ahead, DB.
I just want to say, we did do a video. We took a lot of footage of Toontown before it closed, and then now that it's open. And so we did do a video kind of doing some before and afters that I just put a link to in the chat. So if people do want to take the time to check that out, that can be kind of enlightening as to exactly what's been changed in Mickey's Toontown.
And as part of the Toontown opening, we also saw some of the candies that had been spotted in the queue for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Hi,
We
Jeremiah.
saw them appear on shelves, and now they've even made their way to the East Coast. And our team has picked it up at Creation at Epcot. So the Toontown treats have become real world fun too. So
And the popcorn box. We briefly saw the popcorn box
Yeah,
earlier,
we did.
which featured that little tiny kernel with Mickey Mouse on it. And they have the popcorn place out there. And anyway, let's move on. Jeremiah, welcome to the show.
What? Huh? Huh? Huh?
So now that we've been through Toontown, Rebecca's driving today. We'll see what she goes to next. But we did want to make sure that we brought on Jeremiah Good. He is in charge of our East Coast theme parks. He's been out today at Magic Kingdom as Tron Light Cycle / Run has its first day of official soft openings, virtual queue, all that fun stuff. So welcome, Jeremiah, and we'll continue.
Thank you, guys. I didn't know Mike was here, and again, I apologize for being late.
All right.
So yes, today was the first opening day of soft opening, which Rebecca, you and I have been doing this for a while. Do you remember Disney ever saying, "Hey, we're going to do a soft opening"?
You mentioned that earlier, and I was racking my brain trying to remember, and I'm afraid to say no, it hasn't, because I have a feeling somebody's going to come and prove me wrong. But it's not something that's kind of just instantly popping into my head. How about you, Doobie? Do you recall?
No, especially with that term, I feel like I could, if I thought hard enough, I could think of some time where Disney was doing previews. But they're
Yeah.
using the term soft opening. Soft
That's
opening
true.
is such a inside baseball term. It's like I feel cool when I talk about soft opening. Yeah, I know what it is. Do you know what it
Okay,
is?
so what's your favorite soft opening attraction? Like a time that you were part of a soft opening, Jeremiah? And going to media events doesn't count. I mean,
No,
legitimately, you're in the park, you're just a paying guest, and an attraction's open you didn't expect.
I'm pretty sure I've told this story a few times, but it was July 4th, 1989. I was in line for Pirates with my best friend at the time, and this kid came running up, soaked to the bone, and he's telling his mom, "We're just on Splash Mountain. And I'm like, Splash Mountain doesn't open yet." Went over there, got in line, was in line for over 3 hours. The ride shut down. They didn't dump us out of the queue. When we finally got to get on the ride, loved it. Went and met my mom, in front of the castle at a designated time. And she told me that she was splashing. They shut down the attraction and they almost kicked her out of the park. And that's why I had to sit in line for 3 hours, because my mom didn't listen to the ride attendant.
Okay, my
That's
my
awesome.
story is also Splash Mountain, but we were at the park, and the line was open, and we were shocked, and we got in line and we got on the ride in 40 minutes, and the people in line ahead of us had been in line for 2.5 hours, because that's the way soft openings work.
Yeah.
Attraction open and closes, no guarantee, and people would just kind of hang around and hope. And like I say, we lucked out. It was only 40 minutes for us, but they'd been in queue for 2.5 hours. Now I wonder if it was the same day, and
I don't think you went on the 4th of July. You're too smart for that.
Oh no, we were locals. We would venture out into Disneyland every once in a while for July 4th.
Check those pictures.
I know. I'm gonna have to ask my parents.
They're in the background. There's Jeremiah.
Kyle says Luke and he managed to, with Luke, be there for a soft opening of Ariel's Undersea Adventure at DCA. And he said they waited for maybe 15 minutes, but the AP previews that followed wrapped all around Paradise Park. So
no, and today, the first virtual queue, I tried to get in at 7 o'clock. Like, the second I hit refresh, hit join queue, full. Like, but that's also carries into the hotel guests and the first one. So as we were doing the walk and talk, we did it live, and I was actually able to get it on. And that walk and talk was right around 1 o'clock. Our queue time, or the callback time, was right about 4:45, 4:50. We got in line. Took a little over an hour from the time we actually got in the line to the time we walked out. They were moving it quickly, no problems. It was probably one of the smoothest soft openings I've ever been to. And, it's still a great attraction. Still love it. And then as I'm walking out and I'm sending Doobie a message saying, "Hey, I'm about to leave the park. I might be a little bit late." We get down to the bottom of the ramp, and Energy Bites is open. So I did what, sadly, I didn't do what Doobie always wants, but I was able to get all the food items and pictures of it and taste it. I didn't get a video any of it because it was one of those like, must go. And then as Doobie is sending me messages like, where are you? Oh, I didn't send my message. Sorry.
So how was it?
Well, let's go through the pictures and I'll talk about it. This is the Energy Bites itself.
What did you think of this? So I'm thinking Contact. What are your thoughts on this?
I can see that. To me, it's a well designed little food cart. It's grab and go, which I think is going to be one of the biggest problems where people think it's like, oh, this will be real food. The next pictures we'll be able to see how big everything was.
The name is Bites.
But it's with a Y.
That's usually indicative of a small measure.
That's 8 times more than a bit, Rebecca.
So
I see bites or I see bites with a Y. I assume single mouthful.
So this is the beef and broccoli dumplings, which the dumplings there are 3 of. The mochi, I want to say there were also 3. I don't remember because I was eating those pretty quick. I'm not a big beef and broccoli person, but I tried this. Amazing flavor. Like that is something I would go back and get. I think I have the receipt on me. I don't have.
It's like an Asian style
palette,
right?
It is very quick. No, but I do have pictures on my phone that I didn't tweet out, so I can tell you the prices. 1 second, please.
Wait.
Beef and broccoli digital dumplings, $8.79, and then the other dumplings, which are further on. This is the strawberry iso foam, which is mochi with cream cheese foam and graham cracker crumble. I enjoyed it, but it's just mochi to me. It was, the cheesecake foam wasn't on it, so it looked pretty, but it didn't. You really had to mix it up to get all the flavors in it. It was something good. It's something that I would grab as I was walking through, and the fact that they can have it available out. The mochi is out, not just at Japan in Epcot, is always a good thing.
How much was this one?
That one was $5.29.
Okay. And then what's this little shooter?
That is the watermelon refresher, which I don't have the price of that. I apologize, but that was really good. It was a small, it's a small little shot glass. Not it's small, but it's a taller shot glass. Yeah, it's a bigger toothpick holder. The like one thing to throw back to almost a year ago on the top, friggin' Pop Rocks.
I thought he went to Disneyland Resort.
But it was all very good. The flavor of it was good. They don't have the straws out to get, so you were walking away trying to sip it, and it's very frozen. So finally went back and got the straws. Very good. That'll definitely be something to grab. Yeah,
it's a slushy.
Yeah, with lemon or watermelon flavor on the bottom.
Oh, okay. I see. So there's like a watermelon hit at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. And then that one is not that one. The buffalo chicken dumplings.
Hey, I win.
Yeah. And again, I was grabbing these photos so quick. That's why that blop of tomato sauce is there. This was not my favorite, but I'm also not a spicy person. It had some kick to it.
Bam.
Okay, wait. Did it have some kick to it, or did it burn the sides of your mouth off?
It had some kick to it.
Okay.
Yeah. That one was $8.49, which for some reason is less expensive than the beef and broccoli dumplings.
Is that the official measure of spiciness?
But it's just with buffalo chicken can be that kind of spice where once you've eaten it, you can have like a little bit of something and it's, okay, I had something spicy. Or it can be, oh, help me, I drank a gallon of milk and my mouth is still melting. And so I was trying to determine where on the scale it fell.
I don't do spicy at all, and it was enough where I had to drink some of the watermelon refresher pretty quickly. but it wasn't too bad. And these, have you ever been to Dunkin' and gotten donut holes?
You don't seem terribly impressed.
No, I was not.
Aw.
And I mean, they were donut holes with, I think they were little chocolate chips with mocha sauce. And by mocha sauce, the person at the counter reached over, grabbed the coffee pot, poured it on there, and handed it out to me. Yeah,
Okay, so
for five,
the least impressive of the bunch.
it was $5.79. So for five, that wasn't a bad price. It is something, if you're running up, this is a great place to stop, get some food as you're heading up to the line. But they were good.
Wait. I need to make sure I understand this visual. Instead of like having a bowl of cereal and pouring milk on it, this was like a bowl of donuts and they poured coffee on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
We don't have technically in this brand, unfortunately, but Kyle Burbank feels the need to mention that at Dunkin' they're called munchkins, not donut holes. So thank you, Kyle.
Can I talk about Tim Hortons and whatever those
No,
things? Tim
you
Bits?
cannot.
Yeah, they're Tim Bits.
Can we just reiterate and confirm this accuracy that you can only get to Energy Bites if you have a virtual queue for Tron?
No. So the attraction closed at 6:00. And that was if you go to the last tweet I sent out, the attraction was limited hours today because it's after hours. So it closed at 6. And as I'm walking out, because they were directing guests only out through Storybook Circus for that were doing the rides. And we got the food and we were sitting there and we were about to exit out to Storybook Circus. Then I was like, I'm not going to make it in time for Parks Talk. So I have to cut through quickly. Walked out through the main entrance. And as we get out by the launch depot, I turn around and boom, guests can walk to Storybook Circus and Energy Bites was open.
Awesome. So once they close Tron, at least today, they open the walkway and you can walk over there and get a better look as well as get over to Energy Bites. Oh, cool. I'm so glad I asked that question.
But this was the first day of the soft opening. So everything is subject to change. They did have the greenery wall out and guests had to register there, walk up. They would get in the queue on the outside. They had the exterior queue with the switchbacks. And then you tapped in again at the touch points. And then you went through the interior queue. It took us approximately 45 minutes, almost 50 minutes for the exterior queue. Then as soon as we tapped in, it flew through. We were in and on the attraction in no time. The lockers were the backup point, but that was it.
Rebecca, you're muted. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I had to find my mouse. I was like, this is annoying. I know I'm muted and I can't do anything about it.
I know what we just said was going to be next, but I saw you flipping through pictures. Can we see the Tron characters real quick?
Oh, okay.
Because they are so incredibly cool. And we have not talked about them on Parks Talk, obviously, because they didn't debut until after last week's show.
I know. I keep thinking, like, didn't we talk about all this? Oh, that's right.
But while we were talking, while we were showing off how amazing Mickey and Friends looked in Tron gear, I want to ask an operational question. There is an incredibly small compartment at the attraction. Yes. But I have the impression that they are very, very heavily suggesting and pushing guests to utilize the lockers rather than rely on that space.
Literally, your phone can fit in there. Okay. That is it. They say anything larger than a cell phone, put in the lockers. And I've watched guests today walk with like a little handbag that was much bigger than this, got all the way down to the load, almost got on the vehicle, and the customer was like, you have to put that in the locker because it's too big. And she got very upset and argued with everybody because she didn't feel that it was bigger than her phone. It was. The compartment can hold your phone, glasses, that's it. The lockers are free of charge, very simple. Magic Band. There was one more tweet that I sent out of they're now offering locker cards that are just plain white cards. They work. They have an RFID chip in there. You tap it, you open it up, you put your stuff in. You keep it, you tap it on the way out, and then you put it back. That is it. There is no Tron logo. There is no Disney logo. It is
Smart.
just a white card that I'm sure everybody's going to be like, look, I got a new Flick card. No.
Nice.
There is zero reason for people to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Just give it back.
But yeah, the cast members when I experienced it, I was wearing a ball cap like this, and I similarly thought, well, the cap itself, I could just mush it, but they said put it in the locker.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I was so wrapped up in riding the attraction, I didn't think to, kind of open it up and get a feel for, the size of it. So wanted to ask that. So really, I left my phone and everything, because it is not a short distance between the load and the lockers themselves. If you have to get sent back,
yeah, you're walking around and down a ramp and then all the way down.
That is going to add additional time and frustration to your experience. So I really suggest leaving it in the locker. Just maybe hold on to that phone if you have to, and then you can put it in that compartment. But don't plan on anything else coming along with you.
And one of
Jeremiah.
Yes.
Real quick, Jeremiah, you tweeted out a really, really good sequence of tweets going everything from getting into the virtual queue all the way through the exit. So I just put that in the thread if people want to see a nice series on exactly how the process works.
Yeah. And for those of you who can't live without your phone for an extended amount of time, while it is not a easy walk from the lockers to load, it is a quick walk from the lockers to load, but it is all downhill. If you have to double back, it'll take longer to walk up than it does to walk down.
Mm-hmm.
So your phone's only out of your hands for a few minutes, and then you're on the ride.
Yep.
So Tron soft opening through April 2nd is the scheduled end of the soft opening period, and then it opens officially to guests on April 4th. And there you go. Also last week, during all these Tron activities, there was an event to introduce the media to, I'm not going to mess this up, I wrote it down, Roundup Rodeo BBQ, which opens up on Thursday to the public. But Jeremiah, you got to do a preview?
I did. Our CEO got a tour in the morning, which was one of those few times of the serious FOMO of like, oh, I want to go see this so badly. But then later on, we had a chance to do interviews with the food and beverage and the Imagineers. And then we got to try some of the food. And yeah, I will definitely be heading over here because the samples I got were not enough. And then the entire play set, as the Imagineers were telling us, hold on that picture for 1 second, Rebecca, or Doobie, whoever is driving. It is Andy made it all. Andy you'll find cardboard cutouts, you'll find things that he made on his own. The blue wall in the background, that is a milk carton, and if you happen to look at that cow, it may remind Disneylanders of something of the past.
Yes, Doobie is muted, and I will say it for him. Minnie Moo.
Yes, that was one of the things the Imagineers, like, I was like, so what's your favorite Easter egg? And like, go look at the milk carton, you may see something. And I can almost guarantee that everybody else that went and looked at the milk carton had no clue, but it was one of those like, it's Minnie Moo.
Nice.
But yeah, the setup of it is very nice. This is a bit of a wider shot. That's one of the centerpieces. Nice table spacing. There aren't a lot. Oh, I didn't even notice the 113A in the background on the.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. But it should be, so it doesn't have a large capacity, but it has some good spaces. And this is a family-style table service restaurant. So that's something that everybody needs to remember. It's not just, hey, I'm going to walk up and sit down for a second.
I love how Jeremiah turns the upside down exclamation marks and a upside down E into a 113. Nice.
Yeah, no.
You don't think that's what? Okay, that's not what it is.
I was looking and I couldn't find that or the Pixar ball, so I will go with that one as the.
I have to share what our team's favorite little nugget was. It was the fact that over the bathroom you have a rootin' tootin' good time.
I wasn't going to take pictures in the bathroom. I'm glad Benji did that for me.
That's not an accident. There's no way that's an accident.
No. I was like, oh, I work with a bunch of boys.
It's just like out at the Wilderness Campground. That Doobie, you've seen it in the men's room. They have a mural of all the cowboys scratching their
Oh,
behind.
that is not my favorite restroom. No, it is not.
Oh,
Hey, I wonder.
but I love how what you're saying. It's Andy. Andy created this setup. As a mom, I can tell you, I have seen our son do such a thing where it is just a conglomerate of all his various toys and all
Yep.
the pieces from this, that, and the other thing, just making their way into his playset creation. So very nifty
Can I?
decor there.
Here, I just wanted to show a little bit of the food in Astromaya. You didn't get to try any of the food, right?
No, I got to try some of the brisket, some of the
Okay.
ribs, the biscuit, which I will say I may prefer over a certain place that has a red crustacean as their logo. But I didn't get to try the sausage, which is what I really want to try. Yes, the cheddar biscuits were that good.
You liked the
Wow.
cheddar biscuits more?
Better
I
than
did. I
Sebastian's?
would need to try them both. Yes, better than Sebastian. Try them both side by side, but it was very good. Um, Two other things about this location: they have audio drops that happen randomly, and some of it is, there's the Partysaurus Tex, which I think is included in our story, but it's Partysaurus Rex. Yes, Mac. Yes. Um, yes. And it's Partysaurus Tex, but it is Rex, and he comes in and then he starts partying, and then he bumps something, and the power goes out. But one of the things that I think is going to be, I know Tony's head has probably already exploded a few times thinking about this. At one point, the Green Army men come on, and they start saying, "Andy's coming, Andy's coming," and then Andy comes in the room and is looking for something. When that happens, everybody does what everybody does when Andy comes in the room. They freeze. And it's only like a 30-second freeze time, but all the servers, everybody, the guests all are supposed to freeze because they're all toys. I was talking to one of the servers in there, and they said it's very entertaining, but at the same time, it's one of those like, we're poor. But there is enough lead up to it. Like, it is, the Green Army men start talking before Andy's there, so you have the time to kind of adjust.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to just how special is the springy macaroni and cheese.
That's the one thing that I really wanted to try, and I'm not going to complain about anything I tried, but that's the one I'm ready for.
I'm so eager to know what this is like.
And they do have a plant-based plate as well for the vegetarians
Yes.
like me, with a plant-based sausage, bratwurst, I think that it is, and some other stuff. So we're not
Yeah,
left out either.
and it looked amazing. The pictures in there, but I know there's a million pictures up there. And we have a full tour of the food, including the plant-based options and the drinks, which there are definitely some drinks in there.
And I think Mac, I hope Mac is going there soon. He's our VP of all things food and beverage, so he can go check this out. So Roundup Rodeo BBQ tour, food tour. Sorry, it's putting this in the chat for you. Okay.
Construction continues on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and they've let us know that later this summer we can expect to see the tiara-topped water tower make its way to the Magic Kingdom. So we've seen it in the modeling, and pretty soon we will be able to see it there along the rivers of America. The tiara-topped water tower.
Yeah, I was over there today when I was kind of walking around, and not much has changed from our update from last week. So we're not doing just here's one more
Right.
scaffolding up.
Right.
But they do have a giant crane already out there. I'm guessing it's more for the construction, less for putting the tiara on there. Somehow I am guessing that there will be a media event for us this summer of, come on out, we're going to put the tiara on the water tower.
Do you think they'll use a crane, or will they use a helicopter when they put the Swan on top of the Swan and Dolphin Hotel?
or the elephant lift out of Jungle Cruise. Yeah.
That one really happened.
Yeah.
Over at Epcot, we know there's a new nighttime spectacular coming. We still don't know what it is, but we do have some new concept art for it, Jeremiah.
Yeah, which I still will call Illuminations 100 until they change it and tell me it's not Illuminations 100. Epcot Forever does start April 3rd, and then sometime later this year, I'm guessing right around the actual 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company, which is October 23rd. I can never remember the date of that. Will Epcot becomes the center of Disney 100 for the Walt Disney World Resort, including this new nighttime show, which just looks beautiful. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, it does look really pretty. So if you missed, if you were hoping to catch Harmonious, you have until April 2nd. Then it bids farewell, replaced by Epcot Forever, which we know will only serve as a short filler because this new nighttime spectacular is coming later this year.
But now we know why they call it Epcot Forever, because whenever they need the filler time, they're going to bring it back.
It will forever be returning. Is that what you're...
It is the fantasy in the sky for Epcot. Hey, we need something for a night. Epcot Forever.
And while we don't know much about the new show that will be coming after Epcot Forever, we do know it will not have the barges in the failed barge experiment in the Epcot Lagoon, World Showcase Lagoon. So that is definitely addition by subtraction.
I'm guessing that I will be going to Epcot quite often starting April 3rd. I mean, other than being there for April 3rd for the Epcot Forever return to document the removal or just the flat out like A-bomb dropping on the lagoon to blow up the Stargate.
How much could they make if they turned it into an AP event, just watching them like explode? You know?
No,
like
it's like
explosion.
when we were in high school and you paid to go at the car with a sledgehammer.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
The ultimate rage room.
Exactly. The Epcot rage and APs have some rage too. We're talking some bank.
Okay, on the totally opposite side of rage. Figment meet and greet coming this summer. A huggable Figment is coming. We don't know how huggable.
Yeah,
big huggable or little huggable.
Everybody, I know Doobie talked about this, and this was announced back at the 23 Expo that we're getting it. And I do love when they remind us by putting out some random new art that has nothing to do with the Epcot huggable. That's part of the Communicore. Hey, I remembered it. Communicore building that has the Epcot or the Figment structure or sculpture in it. And everybody's like, it's Epcot or it's Figment. And I was like, no, that's a completely different building. We have to remember Figment was huggable when Dreamfinder used to walk around with him. Figment was huggable when he was scary and the size of Godzilla. So I'd be happy with somewhere in between.
In betweener.
And while it does not return to the Magic Kingdom until April 3rd, Jeremiah was among the lucky few who got to see Happily Ever After come back to the Magic Kingdom. How awesome was that?
It was very cool. This was part of the media event, and there were a handful of us out there for the media event, and then there were 8,000 cast members next to us. So, not only was it special for me to be there for that, it was so special to hear the cast members, because a lot of the cast members are at the point now where Wishes has been gone long enough where they don't have the remembrance of Wishes like we do, and Happily Ever After was what they loved. I wasn't down on Main Street, so I haven't seen the projections. That'll be something that we'll have a video of later in April. But the fireworks were beautiful. The projection was amazing. I love the music. I forget how good the music is for Happily Ever After. And I'm not saying that way. My video, you can hear me singing, but you may be able to.
So the firework part of the show is unchanged, because when they said this was coming back at D23 Expo, they said there would be some changes. Yeah. It seems it's unchanged, but they did add the projections on Main Street, right?
Correct. They took the time. I walked into the talk of the entertainment director that was explaining that they really wanted to accentuate Main Street to give that more of a show, because Walt Disney World hasn't had the Main Street projections, even though for Enchantment there is some. It doesn't stand out like what we can see in these photos. And I got a chance to turn and look a little bit, and there is a lot of activity on the buildings of Main Street.
So Enchantment will continue to run through April 2nd, and then Happily Ever After on April 3rd. We'll be back.
Yes.
I'm not sure about that
No.
Enchantment date. I am sure about the Happily Ever After date, though.
One is one night and the other one is the other night. I forget.
I know Happily Ever After returns on April 3rd.
Yeah.
So we'll stick with that. Rebecca, I know you're the biggest firework fan I know. How big a fan are you of Happily Ever After?
No, it's fantastic. No, I like fireworks shows that leave me like all fired up and ready to take on the world. And that's how Happily Ever After leaves you. It's one of those where you could play it before you go for a run, or if you've got something big around the corner that you need to pump yourself up for. It's kind of like Eye of the Tiger. Yeah,
Wow.
that's how Happily Ever After is for me. Reflections of Earth was that way too. It's one of those that's like totally optimistic, believe in yourself, believe in just the beauty of mankind too. It's like all the best of everything, and like go do. That's
So
what I love.
what's not? So I'm guessing like believe in holiday magic. That's not really your thing.
That one's beautiful, but it doesn't leave you like, yeah, woohoo, yay team.
Neither one of the new party fireworks for Mickey's Not So Scary or the Very Merry Out Here, those fireworks are very more subdued and just kind of like we're telling a little story, nothing exciting. Where the old Christmas wishes, like I would cry during that every year.
That's what I want. I want to cry.
Yeah.
I always cry during Happily Ever After. So it makes me cry, but in a good way.
We live streamed that, and I got a good view of it, and it is an emotional show, really.
I know you. I
Excellent
can't believe
show.
my husband doesn't like fireworks, so he hasn't seen most of these.
Things go
I
up,
watch
things
them
go
while he
boom.
goes and does other stuff. But no, I'm super pumped that Happily Ever After is back. Woo-hoo.
And also going to be coming to Walt Disney World pretty soon. Moana and Mirabelle will be doing meet and greets.
Yeah, the Mirabelle, I believe it's official that she is taking over where Merida is next to the castle. They haven't done any of the changes to the location as of yet. I was just looking at that thinking, I don't know if I've ever met Merida there, but now I'll meet Mirabelle there.
Yep. So she'll be there, and they're bringing in elements from the garden.
Yeah.
It sounds like to the location in the same way that they've brought in elements of the stories that we've seen over the years. Is that fairy tale garden area there alongside Cinderella Castle, close to the Mad Tea Party, is transformed to welcome Mirabelle and allow her to meet and greet with Disney Magic Kingdom guests. And over at, let me scroll down, at Magic Kingdom. Nope, Animal Kingdom, April 22nd, Moana coming.
Earth Day.
Discovery Island. So there you go.
On Earth Day. Not going to be, do you think they'll move her to, or at least have her at Epcot once World of Water opens?
I don't think Journey of Water inspired by Moana will have Moana actually there. I think they'll keep her at Animal Kingdom. There isn't a meet and greet area there, but in the Communicore Central building, there will be for the Mickey and Friends, and then Figment will be over at Journey into Imagination. So there's going to be a lot of character shuffling as this year goes on.
So before we finished, we want to get back to Tron, because Tron, also you got to see the new shop there that goes along with Tron and some of the merchandise.
I'll find it. Hang on.
And by merchandise, you mean the stuff that's going to take up more space than there should be in my room? Yes.
Every day, Benji's like, Jeremiah keeps asking for a raise. I know he just wants to buy this Tron merchandise.
I am definitely buying the backpack and the identity disc. That is a guarantee. The jacket, maybe. I don't need another jacket, but I do have a trip planned shortly after this goes on sale to someplace it'll be cold. So if I wear it once, it's worth it, right?
So the Tron identity disc, so you get to actually, they digitize your face, they take some recordings of your voice, You choose your helmet and your body style, and you take home a mini me. Is this correct, Jeremiah?
Correct. Yeah, the identity program, and that's what you can start reserving tomorrow. And I believe that was $89.95 is what you guys were saying it was earlier. And that is much like the Avatar experience where they scan your face, but here they actually record your face and put it on the little figure. And then, as Duby was saying, the lights, you get to choose your color, sayings you want included, and you get an identity chip. And the identity chip can be used on your figure, on the RC Racer light cycle, and then on the identity disc itself. And on the identity disc, it lights up and you'll have your sayings available to you.
And all of this merchandise is available where?
This will be at the Tomorrowland Launch Depot. That's going to be another one I'm going to have to get used to saying. Which they debuted the sign the day of the media event, and then we got to go inside to look at the merchandise, and they completely redid the entire building. It looks beautiful. It's no longer left over from the late 90s when they built it originally for the Tomorrowland or for Space Mountain exit. They do have the D-Tech items in there that is all the Tron based things. I don't know if they're actually going to have the ones that are available for the parks, because when I talked to them, we were asking about if Space Mountain merch is going to be in there or anything. They said as of right now, it will all be Tron based. So I'm sure at some point they will move back in any of the Space Mountain merchandise, the weird NASA merchandise, or anything else that has to do with space that they can't put someplace else.
And then finally, we got to look at what the on-ride photo is going to look like, as well as some of the PhotoPass lenses, Jeremiah.
Yeah, the on-ride photo, it's funny that I know why this is this view is because they hadn't uploaded. On the ride, it actually has cameras on both sides. So each side of the light cycle, you'll get to see yourself. And then this is one of the lenses that's available with Genie Plus, that you have to purchase Genie Plus. And when you're near Tron Light Cycle Run, you can scan, it's like a Snapchat filter. You lock on your face and then you put it in this. But this one, you also tilt and you fight against Team Orange or Team Yellow. Not sure which color that really is for them. I want to say it's Team Yellow, but. And then there's also a couple other ones. There's one where you get digitized, which I loved. This one, when I got to see this, I was just like, I'm the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, you keep thinking that, Jeremiah.
Hey. Yeah. And then, yes, they do have some other lenses, lots of PhotoPass options. They have photographers out there that you can pose with your identity disc. They have ones that were down on the lower level next to the sign where you could do like you're communicating with your user, where you're holding up your identity disc. They went all out. This.
Kyle is so right. I let that slide. Some weird NASA merchandise, and you lived in that NASA.
I'm saying weird NASA merchandise is what they sold in there. They'd sell like weird NASA themed dolls, and
I knew what you meant in context, but coming from you of all people,
I have nothing against NASA merchandise at all. When it's at NASA, when I'm coming out of Tomorrowland or Space Mountain, and there's like this random here's some freeze-dried ice cream. Okay, kind of fits. Here's a NASA doll.
Can I show?
Yes.
We saw what the on-ride photo was going to look like. I heard they seriously considered making this kind of a magic on-ride thing. These are the two coolest guys in the world doing their Tron POV. And our CEO on the right, who is the single coolest guy in the world. See him here. High five. High five. There we go.
I love how he refuses to be rejected. I will get my high five.
You guys know how geeked out I am about this attraction. Anybody could have been sitting next to me. At one point, Benji's like,
look at that face.
Yeah, Benji's like, I don't need to ride with you. And they're like, oh, they do too. I was like, okay, well, then I'll ride. I'm like, I don't care. I got a cool face paint. I'm wearing my Roosevelt shirt. I'm on the ride of my dream.
So that went too quick. I want to make sure people got a chance to see that. We'll show it one more time. High five, high five. Yep. Did you even know that moment occurred until you saw the video, Jeremiah?
No, because in my head, I kind of like looked. It's like, what's he doing? I don't know. Yeah, because there's also the fact that I know I'm on Rider Cam. Yes,
this makes
Nikki.
me want to pull up, get the audio of that old ad. And
Yeah, rejected.
Rejected.
Oh
actually, Jeffrey, I'm pretty sure this is a Roosevelt's.
Yes, it is one of the Roosevelt hoodies.
It's one of their new Roosevelt hoodies.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you, Jeremiah. High five, buddy. High five.
Yeah. No, people were making comments when the video went up, and I'm like, and somebody said, like, why you got to break the guy's heart? And I was like, what happened? And then everybody started telling me about that. I was like, oh, okay.
You are wearing a nice shirt there, Jeremiah. I will give you that. That is one heck of a Roosevelt you got there.
It looks better on a slimmer man's body. Doobie, do you have any pictures of you wearing it?
Moving on. All right. I think that's it for Tron and all the fun events from last week. We can actually go to eggs.
Okay.
Exceptional.
Eggs at the Contemporary Resort. We showed you some eggs from the Grand Floridian not too long ago. And the Contemporary has gotten in on the egg laying game too. Did you get these pics, Jeremiah?
I did not. I'm not sure who took these pics because my goal was to go see them today.
They're beautiful, decorative Easter eggs. We saw some from the Grand Floridian. The ones over at the Contemporary are a little bit less ornate, but still super awesome. A wide variety of Disney favorites represented. You got Oswald, you got Tron. There was, I want to say, Lady and the Tramp. I know the Nautilus is among them as well. And of course, a reminder that there are some yummy springtime treats at the Contempo Cafe, including a 5-legged goat sugar cookie.
Really? Okay,
Every
Kyle.
season now, you get a 5-legged goat. During the Christmas holidays, it's 5-legged goat gingerbread cookie, right? I think it may have been a sugar cookie then too, for all I know. But yeah, there you go.
I want Kyle to rank with his Chubby and his Orange Bird for the 5-legged goat in there and put that in the rankings. And now I think we really need an article on the esoteric theme park characters that can be ranked together.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to go see these today, but then my virtual boarding time was a little bit later than I expected. And then I, was late coming here.
And then the last thing I want to talk about, this is, I think, the biggest news Tony's ever had in his entire life, other than the fact that he's getting married. And that's Corksicle is putting in a retail location at Disney Springs later this year. Jeremiah, showing off his Corksicle there. What you got? It's,
for Summer House on the Lake, this is one of the gifts they gave us. It is a Corksicle, smaller, more for the wine, I believe. This did actually have some of the snacks that they will be having at the Summer House, and they were very good. They were just small little bites of the desserts.
All right. I have to take it. Okay, Corksicle, yay. They're a local company, Orlando. We're happy they're coming here, and they're going to have a kiosk. So I didn't get this until until Max said, ha, ha, ha. And then I was like, okay, this is worth thinking about more. Now I get it.
Hey, those plush, like I said during the walk and talk, I will probably be getting the Three Little Pigs plush.
I love that. I can't wait to do trivia in front of that tomorrow. I like the brick wall a lot.
I was just tired of the solid blue.
I think it's much better, frankly. Better.
Can you get a neon sign behind it?
That's what Doobie was saying. There were some other ones I was toying with. I was kind of hoping this would be mine, and then I could have a different one for you or DTL or something. But
okay, fine.
If you really like this one, I'll give it up to you.
No, you can have that. I will go back to the blue. I will pick up my own. Tomorrow we'll go back to the blue, but I will pick up my own for the future.
We can figure it out, because my thought was,
thank you, Nikki.
I needed a backdrop that was a little bit darker in color so that I didn't get helping with the washing out. Maybe I was trying to do some stuff. Today I have the window open, and that's why like half my face is so bright. But
when I do that, it really gets messed up.
yeah,
It's
no,
not
it's
working
much
off.
more difficult for you
Yes.
with your
The challenges we
deeper
face.
tones. I know your deeper tones.
I can't believe I forgot like one of our major articles and we almost closed without me getting back to it. Instana Jones reopened
Could I
yesterday.
sign off for this before you guys do this one?
Oh goodness. Bye,
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
it's just that Instagram that I put up earlier. Have you
I
seen?
still haven't even watched it because
Oh,
I
okay,
will
that's
see
fine then,
this
because it's super
tomorrow.
tiny with lots of letters all over it. But sure,
The
go
fact
away.
that I
It's all
learned what
good.
happened. Thank you guys. Have a
Bye,
good night.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah's off to Disneyland. He likes to remain spoiler free. We try to respect that as much as we can. But we are going to talk about the return of Indiana Jones.
Respect that? No, we tolerate that. I wouldn't say we respect it.
I'm not going to disagree with you one bit. So you put up this great Instagram that highlights the changes. We actually have we have a full.
Horrific Instagram.
No, it's not. We have a full video ride through. We also have a full side by side ride through of before and after the changes. But Rebecca put up this video which highlights the three major changes. What's going on with Mara? I guess the four. Three major changes. Mara, the Rat Room, the Snake being back, and then the Indiana Jones goodbye. So definitely check that out. Let me take a
Yeah,
moment.
I don't know that the indie is different per se. I just figured he was a good way to kind of wrap him up.
He's certainly
But-
been refreshed. So
yeah.
I'm going to put up the side by side. This is probably the best one you want to see if you're specifically interested in the changes. Indie side.
Well, it's the refresh, JJ. He doesn't want to know what's new, what's different.
Kyle appreciates it.
So there you go.
We all tolerate Jeremiah and his quirks. We've all got quirks. Those are Jeremiah's.
Hey,
Doobie has certain words he hates. We've all got quirks.
everybody has their thing, and he's gonna be there soon. So I can understand the desire to wait until it is you're there. But for those of you who are with us, our team created a nice little side by side, so you can get a feel for how things may be different versus previous experiences. So in some cases, this may be about the Mara gift that you've been given, but yeah, there's
This is great.
some enhancements.
That's major enhancement. I haven't seen this yet. This is incredible. Nice job,
So-
guys.
Yeah, no, I believe this is the work of one Tony Betty.
Want to be spoiled, but I have been. Sorry. I say they're slack for that, and then people slack me and I laugh, and I'm supposed to keep that to myself because they're slack for that. I think this was our last thing, Rebecca.
Wow, we made it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We don't need these guys. We can do the show ourselves. Remember we used to do this entire website by ourselves?
Yes. Disney
Well-
Company was a little bit smaller back then. Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit smaller. And that's not fair. Even then, we had plenty of contributors. We had lots of
Oh,
help. You could not
totally.
do it all
Oh,
by
yes.
yourself.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
Yes.
Especially in those outlying areas. We had book reviewers and movie reviewers and that kind of thing. But yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day. For those of you tuning in currently, though, we've been discussing the reimagined Mickey's Toontown. You can find that at towards the beginning of this video. We talked about the previews that are happening for Tron Light Cycle Run at the Magic Kingdom. A lot of new and exciting things coming later this year at Walt Disney World, and we highlighted those as well. There were links throughout the chat. I'm sure there'll be links below. Be sure to check out Laughing Place. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram to stay on top of all things Disney. We not only report on the Disney parks, we report on all things Disney. So
All things Disney.
That's what we've been doing since the 90s.
And tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Oh, 90s. You make it sound so long ago when you say it like that.
Hey, we've been reporting on the company since before Iger was and was not CEO and was again.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m. we will have our LPTV Disney morning show. We're going to be talking just kind of a fun, light show where we talk about whatever the Disney news is, and always throw some fun stuff in there. That's hosted by myself and this guy right here, Kyle Burbank. And usually,
And not
often
Bob Gurr.
not Bob Gurr. Often we have, although he did once work for LP.
Yes, he did.
And often we have some guests join us. And then tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, this lady here, is there barely tomorrow? I should have checked,
Yes,
actually.
yes,
Yeah.
there will be barely.
There will be Barely Necessities tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. with the two Rebeccas. See, in the morning, Kyle and Doobie do a show, and then later on, Rebecca and Becca do a show, the husbands and the wives. Shut up, Mac. You're fired. Bottom four.
Yes,
And
JJ pointing out. Yes, I know it's not the same gift. So that's part of the challenge with the true side by side, but to give you some sense of the dynamics happening.
so, Barely Necessities, the Disney Merchandise Show tomorrow at 4 p.m. If you like this show, you'll love that show. And then at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, we have the crazy thing we call Disney Trivia Live. It's silly and fun and wacky, and there's also trivia. And most importantly, do not forget, Ethan is in DGO. I don't think you were there this morning for Parks Talk for the weather
Morning
report this
report.
morning with Ethan. Maybe I'll show that before we go today. It's kind of fun. And so, yeah, that'd be a nice preview for what we do on our morning show. So, anything else before we close off? I let Ethan say goodbye, and then we'll finish this up.
We'll let Ethan say goodbye. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Let me switch over to our LPTV brand. Sorry
Ooh.
for the color change there. And then let's find Ethan's weather report for today. And then
And
we'll
you
say
can check
goodbye.
out Ethan every morning at 9 a.m. typically here on our YouTube.
Good morning and happy Monday. I hope you all had a good weekend. Personally, I was excited to check out this Disney Trivia Live show I hear so much about, but I had to reboot and must have missed it. How was it? Can anyone tell me? I'm sure it was great. Perhaps I'll appear on it sometime. Anyway, enough ribbing, let's get to the weather. It will be a cloudy day in Anaheim with highs in the low 60s. Additionally, there's a chance of rain if you're in the parks late enough, and, spoiler alert, that will carry into tomorrow. Lake Buena Vista, hey, don't laugh at me. I'm learning. Fine, that place in Florida will be sunny but relatively cool, topping out south of 70. Hopefully there aren't any ships trying to visit Castaway Key today, as it will likely be quite wet until later this evening. Temperatures will stay steady at 76 and fall a few degrees after dark. Disneyland Perry is also a bit rainy, with precipitation on and off for the rest of the evening and temperatures right around 50. Tomorrow, Tokyo could see some showers in the early morning but will then just be cloudy and in the low 60s the rest of the day. Our wet forecast continues in Shanghai, where showers are expected during each hour of the day tomorrow. At least it won't be too cold, as it will be around 60, give or take a couple of degrees. Finally, although there is a non-zero chance of rain in Hong Kong, it will likely just be cloudy there tomorrow with temps in the 70s all day. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to something on our YouTube. Mr. Morgan, meaning Tony, not Nick, put together a side-by-side ride-through of Indiana Jones' adventure so you can see the changes that were made as part of the refurbishment. Pretty cool, right? I found it interesting for no particular reason. Have a great day.
Hashtag Ethan is Indy. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow morning.